Welcome to The Astrology Show with your host, Kelly Fox. Each week, Kelly will give you access to the current transits that are a valuable tool which provide astrological information to help unlock the potential each of us has through our sun sign. Understanding the current planetary influences each week can help steer us in the right direction to make better informed choices. Sometimes, events in your life may seem completely random, but there is a pattern to the order of these events, one set in motion in part by you, and in part by the planets and stars in the sky and their influence on your life here on Earth. So if you're wondering what's going to happen in your week ahead, if you're going to get that promotion, move to a new city, or fall in love, tune in to The Astrology Show for guidance. It can help you anticipate problems before they occur, give you tools to cope with changes, and help you look forward to the wonderful days ahead. Kelly Fox is a professional astrologer and internet pioneer who launched astrology.com, one of the first and most successful astrology websites. Today, her passion lies with her new site, theastrologer.com, where she brings a modern-day approach to an ancient wisdom. Please join Kelly each week to learn more about how the planets can align for you.
Hi there, welcome to The Astrology Show. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox. We have a busy astrological week this week. We have, as of yesterday, Mercury moving into Gemini. Today, Neptune turned retrograde. We have Venus moving into Cancer on Friday. And also on Friday, Saturn forms a square to Neptune. Now, of course, there are other astrological influences, which I will talk about throughout the show. The Sun's forming a sextile to Uranus tomorrow. And also yesterday we had Venus sextile Uranus. So I will cover that. But first, let me dive straight into it and talk about Mercury. Mercury moving into Gemini and Venus into Cancer. So Mercury in Gemini, Mercury is a planet of communication, and Gemini is one of the signs that it rules. The other sign is Virgo. So Mercury is very happy when it's in Gemini because the energy is flowing between the two. And Mercury will be in Gemini until June 29th. Mercury is the closest planet to the Sun. It was recently retrograde in Taurus, and thankfully that is over. So the retrograde in Taurus is behind us. Mercury has now moved into Gemini until June 29th. And I always think of when Mercury's in Gemini, how clever this energy is. It's clever, it's versatile, it's quick, it's social, and this is a time, June is a month to get a lot of stuff done, especially when it comes to any sort of intellectual pursuit or getting through something quickly. Sometimes there's trivia nights. I think of trivia nights and knowing lots of little tidbits of information. That's another good use of this energy. Now, of course, not just Mercury in Gemini, but any transit, any planet in any sign, it will depend how it affects us individually. So even though Mercury is in Gemini, it affects all of us. Things move along a lot quicker when it comes to the intellect. But if you have any planets in Gemini, Mercury will be triggering those planets in Gemini. So this, what I'm about to tell you with Mercury in Gemini will apply doubly for you. So we might find during this time through June 29th when Mercury is in Gemini that our minds will zip along at the speed of light. We could get bored very easily, very quickly. We might find ourselves making mental leaps from one train of thought to the next, and discover a sudden fascination for a variety of subjects. And as I said before, we get very bored very easily with this influence. It's a little bit ADD, but in a good way. So our curiosity could take us in all sorts of exciting directions. This is a time to just go with the flow rather than try and focus on one thing at a time. This is a time where it is good to just go with it. So we shouldn't bother trying to stick to one subject for too long or get too deeply involved in one pursuit of study. It's a time to cast a very wide net, picking up bits of information and experiences that we can later organise into a meaningful pattern. So this is not the time to dig deep or put things together. It's a time to collect bits of information. So our mind at this time, when Mercury is in Gemini, can be exceptionally flexible and versatile. We're able to see any situation from multiple points of view. So for this reason, decision-making could be a challenge, and we might find ourselves driving other people crazy by frequently changing our minds, because the more information we get, the more we can see, the more we are going to move from one point to another. And as I keep saying, this is an influence where we get bored very easily. So be careful of making any type of commitment, because nothing should be cast in stone when Mercury is in Gemini. It's also a great time to get out and socialise. Many of us have got the gift of the gab, and we might especially enjoy day trips, maybe neighbourhood gatherings. How about speed dating? This is the perfect influence for speed dating, because we get bored very easily, very quickly. We're interested in connecting with new people, new ideas. I said trivia games, crossword puzzles, or any activities requiring dexterity could be satisfying at this time. Even musical instruments could be fun because our fingers are nimble. Mercury in Gemini, this is also about arms, shoulders, lungs. So these are the parts of the body that Mercury in Gemini rules. So how will Mercury moving through Gemini affect your sign? Well, if you're an Aries, this is definitely about intellect and thought and learning, communication, short trips, siblings, and neighbours. If you're a Taurus, Mercury in Gemini is about spending and saving money, possessions, and attitudes towards money in general itself. If you're a Gemini, with Mercury in Gemini, this is about your physical body, your appearance, your individuality. This is a time to get a new hairstyle, change things up, update your wardrobe. If you're a Cancer, it's about the subconscious mind, seclusion, the intangible, intuition, institutions. This is a time through June 29th to pay attention to your dreams. They will be very insightful. And Cancer, you are a water sign, which makes you naturally intuitive and instinctive. And you might be getting a lot of messages over the next couple of weeks. Pay attention to that. Leo, Mercury in Gemini is a time for friends and acquaintances, groups, social networks, clubs, associations, hopes and wishes. This is a time to get onto social media and voice your opinion or connect with like-minded individuals. If you're a Virgo, when Mercury's in Gemini, this is about your career, your status, your achievements, your prestige and authority. If you're a Libra, when Mercury's in Gemini, it's about publishing, higher education, legalities, anything to do with overseas or foreign travel, in-laws, religion and philosophy. If you're a Scorpio, when Mercury is in Gemini, This is about money, shared resources, taxes, inheritance, insurance, recycling, sex, and regeneration. If you're a Sagittarius, when Mercury is in Gemini, for you, this is about marriage, relationships, partnerships, business partnerships, agreements. It's about really letting someone who's close to you know how you feel, or having a deep and meaningful discussion with someone you care about. It's a time when ideas and communication flow. So don't hold back. Not that you ever do as a Sagittarius, but this is a time where Mercury is in your opposite sign and there is a good communication back and forth. If you're a Capricorn, when Mercury is in Gemini, this is about health, diet and fitness, daily routine, employees, pets, and being of service. If you're an Aquarian, this is good for you. You're another air sign. Gemini's an air sign. Libra's an air sign. So if you're an Aquarius, this is about romance, courtship, entertainment, amusements, pleasure, creativity, and children. And finally, if you're a Pisces, a sweet Pisces, when Mercury is in Gemini, the focus will be on home, family, parents, and ancestors. So this is a time to speak up and connect with your family members. It's a time to be heard. It's a time to be flexible as well, because Gemini's a mutable sign and that represents flexibility. So this is a time to have a talk or a discussion with any family members, something you might have been putting off. Now is the time to do it. Speak up and your voice will be heard. After the break, I will continue with this week's astrological events and Neptune turning retrograde today. Stay tuned.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Live with medium Lisa Phoenix, Mediumship Messages and Musings, explores mediumship and all things metaphysical. Lisa Phoenix invites you to reach above and beyond your everyday experiences, to explore new dimensions in the spirit world. She will do live readings to connect callers to their loved ones in spirit, shares engaging stories and teachings from her own personal experience, and will have intriguing conversations with other mediums, spiritual teachers, and healers to help you understand the metaphysical world so you can connect to these forces in your day-to-day life. Join your host on this magical and metaphysical journey into the world of spirit every Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
Hi, I'm Kelly Fox, host and astrologer of The Astrology Show. Each week, I'll give you access to the current transits, which are a valuable tool that provide astrological information to help unlock the potential each of us has. Understanding the stars can help steer us in the right direction to make better informed choices. So if you're wondering what's going to happen in your week ahead, be sure to tune in to the Astrology Show for guidance, Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern Time.
The cutting edge of conscious radio, OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Hi there, welcome back to the Astrology Show. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox. And this week's show, I'm talking about the planets this week. What's happening in the sky? We have a very busy week. Just before the break, I was talking about Mercury moving into Gemini, where it's very happy. It's all about flowing communication and being versatile. Also, before I move into Neptune turning retrograde today, yesterday we also had Venus forming a sextile to Uranus. So what that means is Venus is a planet of love, a sextile brings opportunity, and Uranus is the unique and unexpected. So here's hoping that we can take some time off work, any sort of planetary influence, well, depending on the planets. But Venus sextiling Uranus will take effect a couple of days before, a couple of days after. Venus is currently in Gemini, Uranus in Aries, and a sextile brings opportunity. So if there's time to be more creative than usual, it's not a time to be focused and be serious. Things come to us unexpectedly. It's really good to participate in some of the fun activities of life. Maybe head off to a video arcade for a few games or play some video games at home. Visit a museum of modern art. Try something different to what you would normally do. A party would be nice, not always practical. But if there is any sort of gathering or group event, try one with a wide variety of people from all over the world and all walks of life. Uranus is about being individual and Venus a planet of love. We might find that we meet someone who we're really enamored with. It doesn't have to be romantically, but we can learn something at this time because everyone will seem so interesting. Some of us might even feel a little playful and flirtatious right now, maybe a little bit restless, but basically we're at the very end of Venus in Gemini and it's all about variety and learning new things. Uranus is triggering that in a positive way, so it's learning new things in a unique and different way. So it's all about changing up the routine. So if you're an artist, a musician, you can receive incredible flashes of creative insight at this time. So that is Venus sextile Uranus, and that was exact yesterday. Now what I wanted to talk about now is Neptune turning retrograde in Pisces. That's the news of the day. Neptune turns retrograde in Pisces. And Neptune is one of the two outermost planets and has a long orbit, and it spends about 14 years in one sign alone. So although here on Earth we can't see Neptune without a powerful telescope, astronomers have plotted its course with extreme accuracy. You know, and like all the outer planets, Neptune has a retrograde period. So if we could see it with the naked eye, it would appear to slow down, stop, and then temporarily turn backward in its orbit around the Sun. And the retrograde period for Neptune is about 5 months, and it does the same thing when it's about to move forward. It slows down, turns around, and resumes its normal direction. Now, of course, the planets technically don't travel backwards in their orbit around the Sun. They just slow down so much that they appear to be traveling backwards. So if you hear an astrologer refer to a planet traveling backwards, it's only the appearance of the motion, not actually doing it. So Neptune's retrograde about 43% of the time, And it's not really important in itself. It's only important, or not just Neptune, it's only important when an outer planet turns retrograde. If it turns retrograde or direct or changes its direction back or forth, if it's right on one of your personal points or planets. So, for example, today Neptune turns retrograde at 12 degrees Pisces. If you have any planet at 12 on or around 12 degrees Pisces, that will be affecting you. And not just Pisces, it could be any of the mutable signs. So anything at 12 degrees of a mutable sign, and that's Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. I think I'll leave the technicalities at that and just talk about the interpretation or what it means when Neptune turns retrograde. So, as I said, it can spend, or any of the outer planets can spend months in the same zodiac degree. And so it's really important to get it exact when it's an outer planet. So Neptune, when it's between its motions of moving forward or backwards, that is called a stationary period, and it's meant to be a lot more potent than any other time, particularly if you have any planet at the same degree of a stationary period. So on a personal level, because the outer planets are not personal, they're more global, affecting all of us. But as I said, when one of the outer planets changes its direction or it has its stationary period at the degree that you might have in your chart, then that is quite significant. So Neptune's related to our creativity and our spiritual life. And when it's retrograde, we're more likely to be attentive to these areas of our life. And it's not just about spirituality and creativity. Neptune is the planet of intuition and psychic ability. So at this time, Neptune turning retrograde, it's in its stationary period, although right now it's actually has moved retrograde. It's really important to pay attention to your dreams at this time. Or look to something higher than ourselves, or being very creative. Some people might want to wait until Neptune turns direct. I don't think that is really necessary because Neptune is retrograde nearly half the time that it's orbiting the Sun. I don't think that makes really much of a difference. But this is a really good time to keep a dream journal. And really pay attention to our dreams. A lot of our dreams might be more vivid than usual, and it might be a time to sit down and sort of interpret them. Now, what I thought was interesting was a little bit of background. So, as I said, Neptune in Pisces. Neptune is currently in Pisces. It spends about 14 years in each sign. Neptune has a cycle of about 165 years. The last time Neptune was in Pisces was April 1847 through February 1862. Now, the next time that Neptune will be in Pisces will be the year 2176. I mean, it sounds so far away that it just seems completely irrelevant. But I just thought it was just a fascinating tidbit just to put down, food for thought, I guess. So during the 14-year period of when Neptune's in Pisces, everybody will express this energy in their own way. Some people more strongly than others. But what we will find are changes on a global scale because Neptune is an outer planet. And when outer planets change sign, the effects have a worldwide impact. Of course, Neptune's not changing sign, it's right in the middle of the sign. So the effects will continue. Now, Neptune in Pisces represents spirituality, the arts, music, photography, fashion, glamour, Hollywood, charity, oil, water, institutions, drugs and alcohol, all those things might be at the forefront during this period when Neptune is in Pisces. Of course, many of these issues already are in the media, but might be emphasised more so. We may see this influence refining and purifying the gross materialism that seems to have overtaken the world. Perhaps it might take more than just Neptune moving through Pisces. Perhaps you or your peers might revitalise spiritual practices and seek to establish healing centres as well as spiritual retreats. So what that means is that perhaps more people will turn to move away from more of a materialistic side of life, more into the spiritual realm, and look for meaning there rather than what we own and what we have. Let's look to something bigger. Let's understand that we're all connected and we're here to help each other. The weakest link in the chain, because Neptune in Pisces is about spirituality, but it's also about charity. Now, I did a little bit of research because I was very curious, of course, about the last time Neptune was in Pisces, which was April 1847 through February 1862, and the following occurred. Of course, a lot more occurred at that time, but I picked out the things that represented to me Neptune in Pisces, or the energy of those two coming together. Now, Neptune is the ruler of Pisces. It's one of its ruling planets. So it's very happy when it's in Pisces. So the energy should be flowing a lot more. But here's a few interesting things that happened the last time Neptune was in Pisces. Oh, we have a break. But after the break, I will go through when Neptune was in Pisces and what occurred at that time. So stay tuned.
Your conscious lifestyle on steroids. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Join Vibe Nation radio host, international psychic medium Carrie Turcotte, as she guides her listeners to rediscover themselves by accessing the keys of knowledge that already exist within. Each week's show is divinely orchestrated to intertwine with the universal energies, allowing the listeners to go deeper within. At the end of each show, Carrie will tap into the energies of the listeners and give a message from Spirit about the upcoming week. If you really want to get to know who you truly are, join Carrie each Monday at 3 p.m. on Vibe Nation Radio.
Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community. As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Looking for inspiration?
Want to be inspired?
Not sure where to go?
Find Mark and Kim every Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Inspired Living.
Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience and all things spiritual.
Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
The Real Conscious Connection. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Hi there, welcome back to the Astrology Show. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox. And just before the break, I was talking about Neptune turning retrograde in Pisces. And then I did some research and I just thought it was fascinating to look back and see the last time Neptune was in Pisces and the influences and what came about at that time. And from April 1847 through February 1862, the following occurred. The United States issued its first postage stamps. The Irish potato famine occurred. We had the California gold rush. Elizabeth Blackwell becomes the first female doctor in the US. James Knox Polk becomes the first president of the United States to have his photograph taken. American Express is founded. Europeans make up 22% of the world population. The first protected submarine telegraph cable is laid across the English Channel. The novel Moby Dick is published. The Great Ormond Street Hospital for Sick Children in London admits its first patient. The first boat race between Yale and Harvard occurs. The first public aquarium opens at the London Zoo. The American and German piano manufacturer Steinway & Sons is founded. Alexander Wood invents the hypodermic syringe. Major streets are lit by coal gas for the first time. The world's first oil well is drilled in Poland. Professor Benjamin Silliman of Yale University is the first person to distill petroleum into usable oil. An epidemic of cholera in London kills about 10,000 people, which is traced back to one single well water pump. The Opium Wars occur. The French fashion label Louis Vuitton was founded. The birth of the chemical industry starts. New York banks close for 2 months following a major financial panic. Divorce becomes legal in Britain. Hollywood is founded and Charles Blondin crosses Niagara Falls on a tightrope for the first time. Now you're probably listening to that list of things and thinking, how does that connect to Neptune and Neptune in Pisces? Well, these things occurred while Neptune was in Pisces, and strange as it may seem, the list of those things I just read out to you are all connected to either Neptune as its ruler or Pisces, things like water and viruses and anything ethereal is also Neptune in Pisces. So there you have it. Neptune turned retrograde today in Pisces. Now, I didn't give you the date of when it turns direct. It will be in Pisces retrograde through November 19th. Now, moving right along, tomorrow, Tuesday, we have the Sun forming a sextile to Uranus. The Sun is currently in Gemini and Uranus is in Aries. The Sun is very strong energy. It's the core of who we are. Uranus is the unexpected, the unpredictable, and a sextile brings opportunity. So at this time, this week, and of course with the Sun transit or a Sun influence, it's a couple of days before and after. It peaks tomorrow. So the most progressive and innovative concepts seem perfectly normal right now when the Sun forms a sextile to Uranus. We can look ahead and entertain what would normally be considered unique or even outrageous. We're more open-minded than usual, curious and interested in change and reform. Progress is highlighted with attention paid to the humanitarian impact of new plans. This is a great time for creative intellectual processes, either in group settings, really, because good ideas spawn even more good ideas. This is an influence that is very good for any type of brainstorming. We might encounter some really interesting people, nonconformists, bohemian individuals. Their function at this time is to wake people up to an alternate reality. And if there's any attempts at restricting the comings and goings of the general populace, it'll leave most of us chomping at the bit, ready to burst through by force, if need be, to a place of freedom and spontaneity. So basically, don't hold back. The tried and true won't work at this time. It's better to try different things, think outside the box, colour outside the lines, whatever the sayings are. This is not a time to go with the flow. It's a time to try new approaches. So moving right along, that's Tuesday, tomorrow, and then Wednesday, Thursday, we just have some moon aspects. Moon aspects I don't cover in the shows because they're so fleeting and fast and they're just done very quickly. So Wednesday, we have the moon forming a trine to Venus, which is all about love and romance and feeling good. And then Thursday, we have moon trine Neptune, moon sextile Jupiter, moon sextile Pluto. So the summary of Thursday is about looking from a higher perspective and making transformations. So it's like if you're looking to break a bad habit, Thursday would be a good day to do that. On Friday, we have love planet Venus moving into Cancer. So Venus, the planet of love, changes sign on Friday. It moves into Cancer where it will stay until July 11th. This is great news for the water signs. The water signs are Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces. So love planet Venus moves into Cancer where it will stay until July 11th. Now under this influence, and of course it always depends on how this transit affects your natal chart. So if you have any planets in Cancer or anything connected to Cancer, either by element, so that's by water sign, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, that's good news for you. If you have any cardinal planets, this Venus in Cancer might cause a little bit of friction, but not too much because it is Venus. And Venus is the planet of love. It doesn't do too much harm when it's in a hard aspect. So during this time, when Venus is in Cancer, many of us might find ourselves longing for deep emotional connections. We crave the connection, the bond. We want to connect so deeply with somebody else or our loved ones. Casual relationships won't appeal to many of us under this influence at this time. It's intimacy that we're craving. Many of us will be sensitive, soft-hearted. We want to feel safe in our relationships, and we want to be able to show our vulnerability. So it's when we feel that our sense of security is threatened during this time, we might hide behind the protection of something. And because Venus is in Cancer, Cancer the crab carries its shell around with it. So some of us might retreat into a shell to protect ourselves. We could also put others off with our crankiness at this time. Not really because it's Venus in Cancer, but many of us are so deep. We just want to go so deep that people that are not willing to go to that depth with us might perceive it as a mood or being cranky or having the grumps or something like that. On the flip side, though, when Venus is in Cancer, many of us will feel more nurturing and maternal toward our loved ones. Even baking favourite treats and tending to their every need without, of course, being taken advantage of. But Cancer is a sign of domestic pursuits, so taking care of anything in the home we'll enjoy at this time. It's a good time to restyle or redo the home or buy new cushions for the couch, that type of thing. Venus in Cancer is all about commitment, and we're ready to commit, and we're ready to commit for the long haul, and we're willing to invest our time and energy in making our relationships work. We are going to hang on and we are going to make it work. But what we need to be careful about is that we're not giving too much of ourselves away. There needs to be a balance of give and take. Try not to be taken advantage of, because we're so willing to give it all up and taking care of the people we love that there might not be anything left for us. So it definitely is about finding a balance. And because we have a strong desire for intimacy when Venus is in Cancer, we might have a tendency to commit ourselves too quickly, ignoring the warning signals and the red flags. And because Cancer is a water sign, it's crucial that we pay attention, very close attention, to our feelings and our intuition. Cancer is a feeling sign. It's ruled by the moon. So the moon is connected to this placement of Venus in Cancer. So this is definitely all about our feelings, our emotions, our intuition. It's also very feminine, a very, very feminine energy. And so this is a time when we'll be leaning on our female friends. So our female friends can support us at this time. And as I said, this is a great time to beautify our homes. And if you're looking to buy some artwork for the walls, or a nice new lamp, or put some precious family photos in frames, this would definitely be a time to do it. It's also a very good time to strengthen our financial foundation. So we're not going to be likely to spend impulsively, and we're going to hang on to what we have, but it's a very good time to get our finances in order. We have a break, but after the break, I will continue with how Venus in Cancer will be affecting you and your sign.
Connecting you with the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Looking for inspiration?
Want to be inspired?
Not sure where to go?
Find Mark and Kim every Wednesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern on Inspired Living.
Topics will elevate consciousness and range from metaphysics to the human and social experience in all things spiritual.
Welcome to an inspired community that offers support, encouragement, and new ways of thinking. You are the inspired and the inspiration.
Being a radio host on IOM FM allows you to build your show on a rich platform with the power of the internet to fulfill your outreach goals and connect with a very specialized and global online audience, unlimited by time and distance. OMTimes Radio will provide you with web relevance, a recognizable conscious brand, and with the standard of excellence that has accompanied every single OMTimes endeavor. Host your show with OMTimes Radio Network. Simone Milicis would like you to know that business can be fun, which is why she wrote the book, Joy of Business. What if you could have the joy of business rather than the stress and struggle? Most of the time, the only thing stopping you from a thriving business is you. In the Joy of Business book, Simone gives you access consciousness tools and pragmatic ways to get out of your own way and to create the business, life, and living you know is possible and beyond what this reality says is achievable. Business is joy. It's creation. It's generative. It can be the adventure of living. You can purchase your copy of the book through Amazon or Joy of Business website, www.accessjoyofbusiness.com.
Hey ladies, do you want to have that good hair day feeling all the time? Gentlemen, would you want your special someone to have that glow, letting you know she is feeling completely satisfied? This feeling and that glow can be yours by embracing your sexual power. So join me, Rachel Kenley, award-winning romance author, on the O-Spot. The O-Spot will guide you to that peak with guest interviews, book discussions, and conversations on the thrills of sexual empowerment. Put the zing back in your life. Come up and see me sometime on the O Spot, live on Hump Day at 10 p.m. Eastern.
Bringing you the best of the conscious minds in the world. OMTimes Radio, your conscious lifestyle on steroids.
Hi there, welcome back to the Astrology Show. I'm your host and astrologer, Kelly Fox. And just before the break, I was talking about Love Planet Venus moving into Cancer on Friday. And I'm going to now run through how Venus in Cancer will be affecting your sign through July 11th. So if you're an Aries, it's all about home, family, parents, and ancestors. And this is love. Remember, Venus is the planet of love. So there's going to be more love for you around these areas. If you're a Taurus, there's going to be a love of the intellect, thoughts, learning, communication, short trips, siblings, and neighbors. If you're a Gemini, there's going to be more love around spending and saving money, possessions, attitudes toward money in general. This is a great time to look at your budget to make some more money. If you're a Cancer, Venus in your own sign is all about self-appearance and individuality. This is an excellent time for Cancerians to make a change to their appearance. If you're thinking about getting a new haircut, updating your wardrobe, this is a wonderful time to do so. This is for any sign when Love Planet Venus is in your sign. This is when it's all about you, the spotlight is on you, and any sort of change you want to make, others will be drawn to you because Venus is all about love and what attracts you and you're attracted to and who's attracted to you and so on. If you're a Leo, Venus in Cancer is all about the subconscious mind, seclusion, the intangible, intuition, institutions, and karma. It's also about having behind-the-scenes love. So if you have a secret crush, this is the time to pursue that. If you're a Virgo, this is love for friends and acquaintances and groups and social networks. If you're a Libra, this is love around your career, your status, your achievements. If you're a Scorpio, this is love around publishing, higher education, any sort of legality, anything from overseas. This is a time for that. If you're a Sagittarius, this is about shared money, big money, shared resources, taxes, inheritance, insurance. If you're a Capricorn, this is an excellent time for you for partnership, marriage, even business relationships or any sort of agreements. A very good time for making agreements or spending time with your loved one. If you're an Aquarian, there'll be a love of health, diet and fitness, daily routine, employees, pets and being of service. And finally, if you're a Pisces, this is a lovely time for you. This is Venus in Cancer moves through the 5th house for you, and that's the house of romance and courtship, and make the most of it. Pleasure, creativity, children. It's a very, very nice time to run through the tulips, as I say, when I think about anything that's romantic or making use of this energy. And finally, the final aspect of the week is sort of unusual. It's Saturn forming a square to Neptune on Friday. So Saturn square Neptune. Saturn is currently in Sagittarius and Neptune is in Pisces. So this could be tough for the mutable signs, and that's Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. And so this influence lasts a while. It's not just this week. It lasts a few weeks before and after. So there could be like established authority struggles against enemies that we can either see or define. It's sort of like surveillance. Anytime I think of this influence, it's a bit like surveillance and who's watching us, and we don't really quite know. Video cameras. It's certain that something is attempting to dissolve the grip of power that the current establishment holds, but the nature of this dissolution is impossible to determine. It's like someone's watching us, but we're not quite sure who Big Brother really is. So some of us might attempt to tighten our grip, increase the rules, and clamp down on any type of creative. So it's a time we want to be creative, but not a time to step outside the box with this particular aspect. So the establishment squeezes and we try and push back, and there you have a square, a typical square. So that happens on Friday. Now, for your weekly horoscope. Weekly horoscope, if you're an Aries, faith and optimism may be disappointed this week, and a cherished hope may be dashed. But hang in there. This is just an opportunity for you to find a different way to get what you want. Not all the doors have closed, so don't give up hope just quite yet if it doesn't go the way you had anticipated. If you're a Taurus, budgeting becomes easier as you take an objective look at your financial situation. However, a friendship may come to a painful end, with betrayal and jealousy bringing potent emotions into the mix. Yikes. So take care with that, Bull. If you're a Gemini, Mercury's arrival in your sign helps you keep a rational head during a mini relationship crisis. Deeply held resentments may surface in your love life. The key, though, is to keep talking. A compromise is definitely reachable if you try. If you're a Cancer, your idealism is laudable, but you're neglecting the practicalities of how to bring your dreams to fruition. Look to symbolism and synchronicity for an answer from deep within your subconscious. There is a solution. If you're a Leo, your confidence wavers this week, especially if someone criticizes your creative efforts. Nurture yourself and get rid of negative self-talk. Nobody else can boost your self-esteem. That has to come from within. If you're a Virgo, a dispute between your partner and your blood family may escalate this week. Take a long-term view and try not to allow the emotions of the situation to get the better of you. Practical solutions are needed now, not more hand-wringing. If you're a Libra, you're surrounded by opportunities to train, learn and progress, but poor organisation and sloppy time management means you feel that you just can't take up these offers. Sort yourself out. You mustn't miss out on this chance, Libra. If you're a Scorpio, financial recklessness comes back to haunt you this week, and you may find yourself facing a financial impasse. Get professional help and advice if needed, but most of all, resolve to use better self-control in the future. If you're a Sagittarius, unrealistic expectations from within your extended family put you under a lot of pressure. Turn to your partner for support, but remember that this is your life to live. You do not have to please your family, just please yourself. If you're a Capricorn, fears and phobias may impact upon your daily life this week, but it's a good time to seek mental health assistance or to start therapy or a self-help program. On the plus side, Venus arrives in your love zone, promising plenty of tender moments. If you're an Aquarius, friendships and money don't mix well this week. You want to help someone out, but you'd be better offering your time and expertise rather than money. Love, care and nurture, but don't just throw cash at a problem. And finally, if you're a Pisces, you have bitten off more than you can chew. It's a sensitive week for your career prospects, but if you hold your nerve, you can pull this off. In the future, remember to under-promise so that you can over-deliver. That's a great message. Under-promise so you can over-deliver. Now, as a Pisces, you like to please everybody, and that's not always possible. So that's a very good message, particularly as your ruling planet Neptune just turned retrograde today. So Pisces, take note. Thanks for joining me with the astrology show this week. Tune in to next week's show when I'm going to be talking about the summer solstice. If you're in the northern hemisphere, if you're in the southern hemisphere, it's the winter solstice. The sun enters Cancer, and there's a few other aspects here. I'm just checking my calendar, but that's the big news of the week next week. And of course, the full moon, second full moon in Sagittarius, all on Monday. Monday next week is going to be a very busy day. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to next week.